think of Jared Eichhoff?
Did a good job. I mean, we know he throws strikes. He came right after people. He was really efficient. You know, we were thinking he may throw 2 innings, and he was so efficient that he was able to give us 3. And I thought he did a nice job. I thought he threw some really effective splits.
For guys like Greg Allen and Cole Tucker who are competing for opening day spots, how important is it for them to start the spring off as they did tonight?
Yeah, good. I mean, good first impression for both of them. I mean, Tuck made a nice play on the pop-up, and a couple good at bats, and Greg with the stolen base, and then hitting the homer and did a nice job defensively. So a lot of positive signs, and that's good to see. I think any time when you start and you make a really good impression, it's important.
Tuck brought up a conversation he and Donnie had at the end of last year about simplifying things, lower half mechanics. Seeing that continue to build in the offseason obviously translates today. How rewarding is that? Is he on the right path, do you think?
I think he's on the right path. I mean, the credit goes to him. We just had a general conversation about stability, and I think he's more stable in his setup, and he's more, I think at times previously we'd seen him lose his legs a little bit, and he worked really hard on it this winter. And when you work on something and then you see the immediate results in a game, it's definitely a bonus, but he definitely looks more stable.
Should that have been ruled a triple, or do you think that was a little generous?
It's a triple. I was a hitting coach for a while. Have you ever played the outfield in Bradenton? Yeah, it's you are going to see some things happen in the outfield in Bradenton here that you've never seen before.
Crow was talking about Roberto Perez being really good at in-game adjustments. I know the former guy was also very good. No mark against Jacob, but what did you just observe with Roberto? Working with Will. Well, I guess he was the only one he caught. But I mean, as far as like coaching him through that outing.
Yeah, I think with what Roberto does, he's got a very calming presence about him because he's been doing it for a long time. And then just realize, I mean, Will did a good job getting ahead in counts. I mean, I think it was 6 of 9 first pitch strikes. And then mid count is when he kind of got away from it. I think that's where Roberto was having conversations with him, like, you're doing a nice job, but continue to stay on the plate.
This is something I'm sure you probably talked about over the past few days, but when you have a situation where guys are kind of doing their own thing during the lockout, and then they come in here, I mean, with a guy like Tuck, who made some changes at the end of the year and had to continue them over the offseason, which was longer than usual, what do you think of the way he was able to maintain what he had worked on before when you first saw him, when you saw him today?
I think, it goes back to the stability portion. We talked about him, being in a better spot underneath his legs. And it's a challenging thing for a tall, lanky guy. And he did a nice job with his off-season workouts. He stayed dedicated to it. He stayed disciplined with the things that we felt and he felt he needed to work on. And I think we're seeing signs of that. Take away, the homer and the triple today, just the general approach of how he's looked in the first 3 days has been really positive.
Is that something you're not going to know for sure with most guys, probably until we get into the season, as to where they are, what they were able to do over the offseason, and how that's going to translate now?
Yeah, I think we'll have a better indication of where they're at in the first 2 weeks in terms of just actual mechanics. Now, the speed of the game and seeing live pitching is going to be where that will change a little bit, and that may take till the beginning of the season. But I think the general mechanical things we'll have an idea in the first few weeks. Now, how that translates, because they are doing it for the first time in live ABs, and as we know, whenever you're making an adjustment, that can take time.
Tuck also said he worked with Chili Davis, who has a history with Andy Haynes. How much is that a beneficial thing, given that they probably at least are on page with the same philosophy?
Yeah, it's very similar. I mean, Chili and Andy worked together in Chicago. I mean, Chili's been a hitting coach for a long time and has a really good feel for what to talk about and what to do. And, Chili was a really good switch hitter. And I think when you have a conversation mindset-wise with a guy that's done it from both sides, it can be really helpful.
Shelton, you talked yesterday about wanting guys to maybe take it easy on the bases, and then Greg Allen gets hit with the pitch and takes off for second. Did he not listen to you, or is that cool because he has a job to?
No, it's cool. I think the one thing we knew with G coming in is he probably takes care of his body as well as anybody we have in camp. And Terrence Brannick had a little history with that, and he told me in the offseason, because not knowing G at all and seeing a few of his workouts on Instagram, I asked Terrence, he's like, no, this guy's going to be in shape. His legs are going to be underneath him. He's very dedicated. So we just told T-Brock, with however you feel with those guys, and he got a really good jump. I mean, we had 2 or 3 guys get really good jumps. So you can tell the guys that were here and had been working out. Frazier got a really good jump. Gonzo got a really good jump. But with Greg, I think we had a pretty good idea with the way he trained and where he trained that he was going to be, his legs were going to be in a good spot.
Thought maybe he was just amped for the revenge game.